What's going on, reality hackers? It's Michael. I'm super excited. Today, we're going to be talking about the 3 things that you need to do in order to successfully manifest with the law of attraction. And I know you hear these bullet points all the time, but we're going to continue to go through them. The reason I wanted to talk about what we're going to talk about today is because there's a lot of people that come to the manifestation world with this very crooked belief that I can get everything that I want by remaining who I am. And it seems to be, a very consistent theme for me in the lives of, the people closest to me, my clients, right? Everybody that we serve at Reality Hacker. You won't get to where you want to go by remaining who you are now, right? Because who you are now got you to where you are now. And there's something to be said about the process of transformation that arises in becoming a new person, right? This idea, what I really would love to get rid of in the law of attraction space, the manifesting space, is the focus on things, right? Because at the end of the day, if I don't know how to handle $10, I won't know how to handle $1,000,000, right? If I don't know how to take care of a small house, I won't know how to take care of a mansion. And I don't think it's like, well, I could hire a housekeeper, I could blah, 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 blah. But that's not the point here, right? If I don't understand how to masterfully handle things on small levels, I won't be able to masterfully use them on massive levels. And this is something that has been so prevalent in my own journey, right? So the first thing here, talking about you get what you want by becoming somebody new. This is my question for you, right? Does your life look like it did 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Are you doing the same things, or your habits changing, right? These are signs that you're actually becoming who you want to be, that you're getting closer to what it is that you want. Your psychology is changing, right? How you rationalize yourself in relation to everything going on around you, how you respond to certain situations, right? I do not become what I want without changing who I am. I do not get what I want without ultimately shifting the state of consciousness that I existed in, not just for a temporary moment, but on a permanent level, right? And this is, if I could give the biggest advice to anybody in the law of attraction space, it would ultimately be to be focus on the process, focus on the becoming, right? Stop focusing on having the things. Honestly, the focus on having the things, in my opinion, makes the things that much more further away from us. If we allow ourselves to delineate the pressure and move into a place where we're focused on actually installing the habits, the mindsets, the beliefs of the person that we want to become, really living from that place consciously every single day, we will see leaps and bounds in progress of our journey of manifestation. I think that as long as my manifestation goals are object focused, they make it, it's very idealistic in nature. And in my experience, it becomes very hard for somebody who needs all these things, whose focus is on these things, to actually get the clarity to understand what to do, how to do it, where to do it. Because it's like, here's the thing. If I want to manifest $1,000,000, I don't just want to manifest it once. I want to manifest it twice, 10 times, 50 times, 100 times. And ultimately doing that is a matter of understanding how money works. And sure, you could absolutely sit here, visualize yourself going to sleep and, in a different place with lots of money, all those different things. I 100% believe that. I've done it, right? I've seen massive sums of money come my way by doing that. But at the end of the day, if I don't know how to handle that money, it'll be gone quicker than I received it, right? There's something to be said about the person that can do the things that I want successfully, right? Good stewardship. I think that the longer we're on this journey, the more we realize it's not about the things, it's about the person we become in the process, right? Because the reality is we already are this infinite being experiencing itself subjectively. That never changes, right? And the more I move into a new state of consciousness, the more I begin to do the things that that person does. I receive the things that that person receives. That's what I really want to focus on. How do I become the person that consistently gets and is successful with all of the things that I want, right? That is the goal. Because if I can look at that avatar, right, I can step into that avatar. And, the second thing here is ultimately looking at the difference between emotional impulses and really settling into the wish fulfilled, right? Here's the thing. You'll know that you're entering new states of consciousness, that you're solidifying new beliefs based on how you are when you're neutral, when you're at rest, right? When you're in the middle of your day and there's nothing stimulating you, you're not watching TV, you're not really actively, your attention's not being pulled anywhere. The stories you're telling yourself, if you're really affecting change in your life, they will begin to change over time. You'll see a noticeable difference in the stories that you're telling yourself when you're at rest, right? Because most of the time when we're starting out, right, a lot of the stories at rest are fear, anxiety, impending doom, all those kinds of things. And as we begin to move, truly shift states of consciousness, our reactions to situations, our stories when we are still are very, the texture, the quality, the tonality of them becomes very different. And I think it's super important to be able to gauge where you're at based on what's happening inside of you. I think that also gives us encouragement and motivation, right? And so if you're not finding that those things are changing, the best thing that you can do is really examine whether or not the state of consciousness that you're entering into, if it's happening only in the head or if it's actually happening in the heart, right? That's really it, right? The scripture says, as a person believes in their heart, so they become. Not as a person thinks in their mind, as a person thinks in their heart, because the mind follows the heart. Whether we like it or not, the mind follows the heart, or should I say the general state of consciousness that we are in, right? If the state of consciousness is changed, the mental landscape changes. But if the state of consciousness isn't changing, the mental landscape is not changing. And you can use that as a gauge to figure out, okay, I've been doing this routine, right? This technique, this meditation, this hypnosis for the last 6 months, and I've actually seen change, or I haven't seen change, right? I also think that it's really, really important here. The last thing that I want to talk about is ultimately presence, right? Most of us, in our desire to attain, we're so caught up in the future. We're caught up in moments that are not the now. And I think that this is, one of the greatest things about this. I know for myself, over the last couple days, I've been pretty sick, and I've come to appreciate sickness, not because I want to attract it, but because of what it does. I saw a really amazing podcast excerpt on Instagram called The Pursuit of Spirit, and he was talking about specifically, like sickness in general, and how he really believes it's an example of fierce grace. In other words, sickness, especially debilitating sickness that keeps us in bed, it really is a call back to ourselves, back to our home, back to our center. Because a lot of the times we get so caught up in trying to get the things, we get so caught up in trying to attain that we miss out, right? And this plays into what we talked about earlier. If I'm not becoming the person that can successfully have what I want over and over and over and over again, I'm missing the whole point of this, right? And that's why a lot of people never actually get what they want, because it's like, or maybe they do, but then they lose it really, really quickly. It's because it's okay. Manifesting principles don't change, but the law of character, the law of consciousness, that doesn't change either, right? If you don't know how to handle something on a small level, you can't handle it on a big level. As within, so without, as above, so below. The same principle applies internally as externally. And I think that the best thing that you can do for yourself over 2023 is look at the person that you want to become, look at the things that you want, and look at the person that gets those things consistently. And then I really want you to focus on disciplining yourself to create habits that support you becoming that person. If you're not in the process of becoming that person, you're missing the whole point of this. You're missing the entire point of this, because it's not about what I can get. It's about who I am, right? I don't just want to manifest something once and never see it again. I want to manifest it over and over and over again. That means I have to rise up to the level of that manifestation, be ready, prepared, and able to handle it with ease, right? So if you're trying to manifest more money, you should be honestly increasing your money consciousness, your money intelligence. You should be reading books on how to handle your money well, right? How to spend your money well, how to invest your money well. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, an amazing book from Robert Kiyosaki, tremendously helpful, right? Perspectives that most of the world does not look at. If you're looking for relationships, right, you should really be focusing on taking care of yourself. You should be focusing on good hygiene, good workout routines, good self-conversations, right? You should really be focusing on being the person that has the capacity to handle another person with grace. And man, if only somebody would have told me this 10 years ago, right? 5 years ago. We get what we get through states of consciousness, through entering new states of consciousness, but we maintain them. We maintain them through new psychological makeups, right? To live is to die, and to die is to gain. In order to rise up in the new man, the old man or woman, right? For all you ladies out there, must die. So what I'm really focused on these days is, how do I become? How do I become? How do I become? And not in a I am not yet type of mentality, but more of a, how do I generate the habits of the multi-billionaire, right? How do I generate the habits, the characteristics, the personality traits of the ever-loving husband? How do I generate the personality traits of the perfect colleague or employee, right? How do I become the person that does these things really, really well? Because here's the thing, if you instill the psychological makeup of the person that does these things really, really well, you won't have to worry about trying to manifest it again. Because all manifesting is doing is taking data, entering states of consciousness, and outpicturing. It's that simple, right? Honestly, I encourage you to listen to this video as many times as you need to. This is probably one of the most succinct, concise videos I've ever done on the law of attraction. You're so amazing. You're powerful. You're wonderful. If you like what we talked about today, go ahead and leave a comment, subscribe, like, interact. We love it. We love seeing you. I personally love seeing your comments. I love interacting and engaging, and I love seeing what this stuff does for you. I tell you what I tell you from experience, not only in my own life, but the hundreds of thousands of people we've been able to serve in the last 6 years. So you're amazing, you're powerful, you're loved. We'll talk to you soon.